So let's talk a little bit now at the end of the interview, because we're going to end this soon, about what's going on now on Oak Island, because you went over there and excavated these two stones. But now there are other people working and excavating things, and it's in relation to History Channel. And we saw that in the end of the documentary that there were these Americans who were searching in the swamp.
Yeah.
And they had these metal detectors where they actually heard something like it was beeping. So they thought it was metal there, some kind of metal. And one of them was saying that it's the kind of same signal that is given by my ring, my golden ring, as I'm getting down in the swamp.
Gold, yeah.
Yeah. And that was so exciting. And this was in the end of the documentary. And I was wondering, what has happened since then?
Yeah. That is my question too, but I know that they are hoping to investigate this part, because you say the swamp. The Mercy Sephiroth in this Oak Island Tree of Life is in the middle of a swamp. And many people think that that swamp is artificial.
Oh, it's made artificially a long time ago. Okay, perhaps.
It's not proven,
No,
but many things indicate that that could be true. For instance, that they found tree stumps on the bottom, and they are hardwood, and hardwood does not grow in water. And they have tested them with the carbon-14 method and found out that the tree died around 1500. So that is the time window that we are looking for.
Wow.
Many different things indicate that it could be an artificial swamp. And I remember the Wilbur Smith novel where you have the entrance to the treasure chamber. It's covered by a pool, and it's a perfect way of preserving things. It's impossible to get to. But what they found very near to the Mercy Point, I don't know exactly because it's difficult to find it from the video, but they found an old coin from the 1600s, 1652. So a little bit late for my theory.
52, not 53.
Yeah, but ideally it would be before 1628, because I think that it was completed then.
Okay.
But why would someone have a coin out there? Because that is a place where you would not go. You can move out into the swamp now because Fred Nolan, the owner, he created a road out into the middle of the swamp because he wanted to sink a shaft out there. But before the 1970s, you would have to swim out there. But on the bottom, there was this old coin. So maybe someone knew about it and visited the place, maybe throwing a coin for good fate, or I don't know. But
the guys, they jumped down and they were standing on something.
Yes, and that's another thing. I was talking to the diver who was swimming, and he said it was just like standing on a dining room table. And normally there would be cobblestones all over the place, but he said there were large slabs of rock, almost like a pavement.
How long, did it try to walk further, or was it just
large enough to make him compare it to a dining room table? And they also used this metal detector that you mentioned, and they have found large deposits of non-ferrous metal out there. And that could be mercury, that is a non-ferrous metal. It could be gold, silver.
But couldn't they, since he was diving down, didn't he see what it was?
No, it's so muddy. You can't see anything. You wouldn't see his hand.
And they couldn't bring it up either, if it was something solid there?
No, it's probably large slabs of rocks to have it. But I heard that they may investigate the swamp this summer.
Oh.
So that can be very
interesting.
So I really hope that they are careful and they do not bring a drill rig out into the swamp and stuff.
I just have to mention that it was so fascinating because your compass wasn't working.
Yeah.
And all the technique, a lot of the technique failed, microphones and...
Lots of equipment fail out there.
Yeah.
Very strange.
And the compass, I mean, that's not
Compass.
supposed to happen.
It showed north being east.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, thinking that might, in my world, that might has to do with some energies and some constellations and something like that. There might. That's a theory.
Could be magnetism is more likely, in my opinion. But what creates that magnetism?
Electromagnetism.
And perhaps Frode Larsen, he told me about this Menorah on the plaque. But if you continue that sentence, you will also see that there is art mentioned and also the ark. And you also see Aron Habrit on that plaque, which is the Hebrew name for the Ark of the Covenant, which is a fantastic story, of course. But let's say that the Ethiopians really had the Ark, as they say they have in Aksum, and the Templars stole it and replaced it with a replica, and brought it along. And if the heavenly aspect of the Ark was, for instance, that it was a kind of a meteorite or some kind of stone that emitted radioactivity or something, then maybe that, yeah, it's very fantastic. It's not at least your first hypothesis, but it could help explain why things happen in the area. But I think it's more likely that it's magnetite or something that creates this.
Wow, who knows what's there? There can be so many things. I mean, we're talking about the manuscripts of Shakespeare, the Ark, the Menorah, perhaps.
The Menorah and the manuscripts, they are pretty good guesses. Okay. The Ark is
a wild guess.
Yeah, but it's so romantic, so fantastic to consider. So I throw it in, but I give people all excuses for thinking that I'm crazy. But I point to why I say that the Ark could be relevant, and there are reasons. It's not just my imaginations. There is this Arkham thing, and there is the Aron Habrit and the Mercy Seat and a few other things.